related to enterprise structure. And I was trying to mention that Bajaj Electronics is going to be the company for which we try to do the implementation. And we started doing some configuration from financial accounting module where we have learned how to go for creation of a company. So the code for company is going to be maximum of 6 letters. As of now, we maintain 3 letters and we have created one company. That was our first step. And basically, this activity is going to be taken care by FI consultants in the real time. Now, the second step, what we need to perform today, we need to see how to go for creation of a company code. So I was trying to mention that one company can run multiple business. So each business, we try to map it as a company code. And what information this company code is going to be providing us balance sheet. So we try to keep a record of all the payments carried out in a business. And once payment transactions are recorded, so we can prepare a balance sheet and we can know whether the company is in profit or loss for a particular financial year. Now, how to create this particular company code? That is what we try to learn over here. Now, whenever you try to create a company code, so please remember, finance department need to maintain lot of information for that. So that is what we try to call it as global parameters. We try to call it as global parameters. So when you try to create a company code, we require chart of accounts need to be activated. Now, when we try to talk about this chart of accounts, this is nothing but a structured list of GL accounts. What account numbers you are going to be using for revenues, for liabilities, for assets. So that information is going to be put down as part of this chart of accounts. Second, we need to go for creation of financial year. So against which financial year you want this transactions need to be recorded. Whether it be maybe related to incoming payments or outgoing payments, against which financial year it need to be recorded. And third, we need to go for creation of GL accounts, general ledger accounts. What account numbers you are going to be using for posting revenue, taxes, capital, everything. So these are all what we try to call it as global parameters, what need to be maintained when you try to go for creation of a company code. And these values are going to be maintained by the finance. They interact with the business, they collect that particular data, and they try to put down that values. So right now we are not acting as a finance consultant to do all these particular things. So for that reason, we are trying to basically copy the data from the reference. We are going to be copying the data from the reference. This is a process what we try to follow it. In the real time, this activity will be taken care by the finance department. So right now we don't have an FI consultant to create this particular company code by maintaining all this data. So we try to copy the data from the reference, we create our company code, and we make sure all that settings are going to be activated. Now, when we try to talk about copy, so from where you need to copy the data, from company code is what we try to call it as, and to company code. From which company code to which company code you want values need to be getting copied. So here I'm going to be taking a sample entry called as 1710. This is one of the standard entry what SAP has provided. For this particular entry, all settings has been maintained properly. So that is the reason I'm trying to take 1710 as a reference. So if you read any documentations published by SAP also, they will be using this one as an sample entry. Okay, for which all activities or all settings has been maintained properly. So from this company code, I'm going to be copying it and I'm going to be creating a company code using a naming convention called as BJIN. So always the code is going to be maximum of 4 letters for a company code, which can be alphanumerical combination. So I'm going to be creating it on the name of BJIN. So this is going to be your step number 1 when you're trying to go for creation of a company code over here. You need to copy the data from the reference. Now, once you copy the data from the reference, then come down to number 2. Step number 2. So where we are going to be updating the address. We are going to be updating the address so that all information will be maintained properly. Okay. So let me try to work with the first step. Let me try to show you how you are going to be copying the data from the reference, and then we try to work out with the second one. So when you do your practice, please follow the same procedure. Pick up 1710 as a reference from which you need to copy and you need to create it. Now see, so first thing I'm just trying to get into the server. Try to get into the backend by running a transaction code called as SIMG. Try to get into an enterprise structure over here. And under enterprise structure, we're dealing with definitions. And under definitions, we are working with financial accounting module over here. And when you expand this financial accounting, this is going to be our second step. So yesterday we have learned how to go for creation of a company. We're done with that. Now we are trying to go for working out with the company code. And we have this option, edit, copy, delete, check company code. And when you click on this activity, edit, copy, delete, check company code, a new window will be getting opened up over here where you're going to be having two options to work on. First option, you need to copy the data. Second option is nothing but we call it as edit company code. So this is going to be your first step where we try to copy the data from the reference. So I'm just trying to update it in the Excel as well, what we are trying to deal with. Okay, so this is going to be the first option from where you are going to be copying the information. Now see, so what need to be done? Now when you double click on it, a new window will be getting opened up. Now in this particular screen, to copy the data from the reference, we try to take the help of second icon, which we call it as copy icon. So from which company code you want to copy. So click on it and we are going to be getting this particular message from company code to company code. From which company code you want values need to be copied to which company code from and to. And here we are going to be entering the reference. So 1710. This entry is already maintained in the system. So I'm trying to use that. Okay, so I'm using this one as a reference from which we try to copy the data to a company code called as BJIN. This is a naming convention what I'm trying to maintain for our new company code. And try to click on continue option over here. And these are all what we try to call it as dependent entries. So as a consultant, you need to provide the confirmation whether you want all these particular entries are going to be copied or not. Okay, so read each and every statement what is getting popped up and give the acceptance accordingly. So do you want to copy the GL accounts? Yes or no? So you want to copy the GL accounts maintained for 1710 company code to BJIN company code. So I want to copy all of it. So try to give the access by clicking on yes option over here. Next thing, controlling area is assigned to company code 1710. This assignment is not required. You can click on no. Why it is not required? When we go into deep of sales and distribution model, we are going to be exploring that. As of now, this assignment copy is not required. You can ignore this particular thing by clicking on no option. Now, reference company code is running all the transaction in dollars, but ours is an Indian business where currency of transaction should be INR. So do you want to allocate a different local currency? Click on yes. If you don't want to change the currency, click on no. If you want to change the currency, click on yes. In which currency you want transactions need to be getting recorded for a particular company code. So click on yes, maintain that currency information. So I'm maintaining it as INR and try to click on continue option. Certain data was not copied, that's fine. It's an information message. Just try to click on continue option over here. Copy all these data. Never click on cancel, never click on close. Until you reach the last screen, click on continue option itself. Okay, click on continue option, copy all the information. You want to transfer the number ranges, click on yes. These are all what we try to call it as dependent interest. And these are the tables in which your company code information is going to be getting updated. We got a transport request in which we want values need to be getting updated. So please try to give the access to the system to copy everything. Okay, click on continue. So there will be number of times you need to click on enter so that all values are going to be getting copied up.
Hi Jairam, I have
Hi.
a doubt here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, for example, my organization is a like a MNC. It's operating in the multiple location in the globe. Okay. So when I'm configuring that one, this currency when you are configured for INR, right? But my organization is also in US and
You need to create in that particular case
having
three
the
different
currency
company
USD.
codes
How
and
can
you
I do
need to
that?
map it.
Yeah. So basically, my organization is a MNC, which is working all over the globe. Okay. So my headquarter is, for example, in US. Okay, where the currency you are giving the USD. But I have the lots of child organization which is in India, China, and other countries. So in such case, my company code, which company code will be going to be the parent one? Like this company code having the sub child structure, or how it is be?
Nothing like that. You will be having only one company, but you are going to be having multiple company codes. So if your organization is running the business in different countries, so in
Yes.
all the countries, taxation procedure is going to be different. Currency of
Correct.
transaction is going to be different. So we need
Correct.
to maintain accordingly. So you need to have multiple company codes. Company will be one, but company codes are going to be multiple.
So right now, what we are creating, it is a company code, right?
Right. I've already completed the company creation in the last class. So that is the reason I'm trying to work with the second step over here. So
Okay, okay,
yesterday we have seen how to create a company, right?
okay. Under that, we have to
That
maintain
is
the
what I'm
different.
doing it over here. I'm trying to create a company code. Let's say if Bajaj Electronics is trying to run the business in India, so I'm using
Mhm.
this particular naming convention as BJI. Now let's say Bajaj Electronics want to run the business in different geographical location. So let's say in
Mhm.
Australia. So I'm just trying to go and create another company code on the name of BJAU.
Okay. So in the
Because
BJU, okay. So in BJU, our currency and company code will be different, right? Like it is BJU, the company, and currency will be AUD.
here the currency of transaction is going to be INR. Here the currency of transaction is going to be AUD.
Okay, currency of transaction will be different.
Okay,
Okay.
so different countries will be having different currency. You cannot use the same.
Yeah, correct. That's right.
So this is how it is going to be mapped up.
Okay, okay,
Okay. Company name is always same. Now this is going to be company. Company code is going to be different.
okay. And
Okay,
apart
so
from that,
yeah, Harshika, your question is like this one. We are going to be having a different naming convention, and this one will be having a different naming convention. So this is what I'm trying to call it as Bajaj Electronics, and company code. What I'm going to be creating will be called as Bajaj Electronics India. If I try to create another company code, I will be maintaining the code as Bajaj Electronics Australia. That's how it works
okay.
out.
Yeah. So, for example, in my like Bajaj Electronics India having the different offices in different location, like South Zone, North Zone, East Zone. Okay, there is four major offices. All these are going to reporting to the similar company code, the same company code, right?
What exactly that zones will be doing? What
Just
they do?
for basically they are my sales zone. Okay, I
That
have
is not
divided.
that we are going to be creating it as a sales organizations.
Okay,
Okay, so right now I'm in the process of creating this particular company code. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to be getting into the sales enterprise structure.
okay, okay, okay. That's fine.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So let me try to copy all this particular dependent interests. So multiple times, make sure you try to click on enter so that all this data need to be getting copied up. Okay. Now, once you get this particular message, enter an year greater than triple four zeros. So this is not required for us. We can click on cancel. So unfortunately, if you're not clicking on cancel, if you try to click on continue, you land up in that particular page itself. If you want to go ahead, complete this activity of completion, it is not going to be working. So make sure you try to click on cancel, go ahead and copy all remaining data. So I'm just trying to copy all the data, and this is mandatory. Why it is mandatory? Because we are not the finance department to maintain all the dependent entries what is required to create a company code. That is the reason we are trying to copy all the dependent entries. But in the real time, please remember we are not going to be responsible for creation of company and company code. It is going to be handled by FI department. So we have our job role need to be performed. So we are not going to be dealing with these steps. On request is nothing but in which request you want this configuration data need to be getting updated. See, for example, if I try to click on yes option, you get this request. Now, if you don't want to use this particular request for storing the information, you want to store the data in another request, you try to click on own request. What request we have created in the past, you can use that. Now, for example, if I try to pick this request number, so this company code creation is going to be getting updated in this particular request. Okay, so I'm trying to click on own request. I'm just trying to change it to this one itself. So total enterprise structure related to Bajaj Electronics is going to be getting updated in this request itself. So try to click on continue. So copy all this particular data as well. So multiple times you need to click on continue option so that all entries are going to be getting updated. Just give me a minute. Now, this is what we try to call it as lock entry. At a time, only one person can work on it. So you can see another person is trying to go for creating a company code. So we are having a lock entry option getting displayed up over here. So let me try to click on continue option over here. And this is going to be the final message we are getting it. So all the data from 1710 company code has been copied to which entry? BJIN. Only one entry has been not copied. Now, what is that entry which has been not copied? That is not required for us right now. Later, when we try to go for recording, we try to check that one. So when we try to record transaction data, we try to look into it. Which entry has been not updated? Just try to click on continue option over here, and you're going to be finding this one. So we have picked up a company code called as 1710, from which we completed copying the data to BJIN. Now, in this particular process of copying, what happened? Whatever address, whatever details maintained for 1710 has been copied to BJIN. And if you want to do any kind of changes to your company code which has been created, we are going to be working out with the second step where we try to update the address. For which company code? BJIN company code. Now see, so to perform that, exit from this particular screen and work with this step, which we call it as edit company code data. So this is going to be the second step. We call it as edit company code data. Now, where we are going to be picking up a company code called as BJIN, and we are going to be updating the address for that. Now see, so here when you click on it, edit company code data. So list of company codes, what has been created are displayed up over here. And right now we are under change mode. Under change mode only you can do anything. Now try to click on position. If you try to click on position, select company code. Here's my company code. Click on enter, and this will be taking us to that location. And what is the name maintained? Company code 1710. This need to be updated. Okay, name need to be updated. Now how we are going to be doing that? Select that particular entry, get into details. Get into details, do all the updation what is required. Now, first thing, I'm just trying to delete the interest and I'm trying to maintain whatever naming convention I want to put down for my company code. City, I'm trying to update it. Country, I'm trying to change it. Currency we have already updated. I'm not doing any kind of changes. Language of communication by default, it is going to be English itself. Leave that as it is. Now, once you update it, make sure you try to click on address tab. Every company code will be having an address, and that address need to be updated as well.